Howdy all, and welcome to the fourth Chugcratic Extracurricular. On this edition, I'll be going over the figures brought up in Hasbro's 28th of March livestream. But not alone. Joining me once again is Athenia's headmaster, Kit Katastrophe.
Yeah, I don't turn into an actual head, I just run the school.
The Dean of Fabrication, DefinitelyNotChar. Hello.
Afternoon.
For this one, we're kicking off with the latest Transformers collaborative. On a minor note, they are reissuing Ectotron from the Ghostbusters crossover, but of course, the big reveal is none other than Party Wallop, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collab. You have the Party Wagon decoed after its appearance in TMNT's 1987 cartoon. It transforms into a mech turtle robot and comes with the appropriate weapons wielded by the pizza-eating reptiles. Ninja swords, nunchucks, etc., along with swappable masks so you can display this as one of the 4 turtles. You can also switch the belt buckle insignia accordingly. I can't see people buying multiple copies of this whatsoever.
Chuggers and a half shell indeed. So I'm not a Ninja Turtles fan per se. I don't dislike the Turtles, but I don't like them either. They were just never a part of like my childhood growing up.
Nor mine.
But if I was a Turtle fan, I would be all over this because it has everything you could feasibly need out of something like this. Like, I'm really surprised by the sheer amount of accessories that they gave this, especially giving it like all 4 headbands, though of course they're helmets this time around, but you know that doesn't matter. And like everyone's signature weapon, so there's a lot of effort put into this one, and I think it's only like what, leader price? I'd say that's fair enough.
I see pre-orders for this one over here going up for around 25 quid.
Oh, really?
Well, keep in mind I'm saying over here in the UK. I don't know what it'll be like in America or in, any of the other appropriate areas, but
even so, £25 is pretty cheap.
Well, knock on wood. I mean, I gotta say that I don't have any of the collab figures at all yet. To be honest, I'm not sure I'll be picking this one up because I too am not like into this franchise a great deal, but even I got to admit, looks kind of fun.
It does.
The first time I gotta say that the first time I saw this, I thought there was some alternate transformation going on, as some shots of the robot mode have the front of the vehicle form the chest while others don't. But as it turns out, this is clearly a recycled Earthrise design, as the front detaches to form a shield.
Oh, we love some banter. When I first saw pictures of this, I thought it was some third-party thing, because not too long ago there was like some third-party company that made like a Brawn and Outback made a turtle version, so I thought this was just another take on that, but no, it's Hasbro. I have to say I was fairly pleased with what I saw, even though I'm probably never going to buy it.
I actually quite like the direction they went with this. I think having all the turtle, I think having it be able to be like a generic party wagon transformer, and then having it be able to be, modified into all of the individual turtles is quite a good idea, and it means, you only need to make one figure, but you also don't, but it also means that people who want to have a display of all the Ninja Turtle Transformers can have that,
Is this something you're interested in getting?
I'm not a big turtle guy myself. I will say it's quite funny. I saw a lot of people digibashing this into animated Bulkhead, though. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, it was a pretty good digibash, too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, part of me wonders if this is a pre-mold of some sort, or if they're actually going to do that. Probably not, but it'd be funny if they did.
In any case, I don't have too much more to say on the Turtles. It looks cool for those who want it. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I'll pick it up. I don't know which of the collabs I'll be picking up as of now. The only one I'm thinking of is Tonkinator, because it might be the only chance I get to experience the Constructicon molds as such.
I imagine they'll do a retro repaint of them.
So with that, we shall press on to the next figure discussed in Hasbro's live stream, which was Comic Edition Shockwave. It is basically Siege Shockwave decoed after his appearance in the Marvel comic. Basically, a brighter purple with some weird shading going on, an attempt to mimic the art style. Gone are his super mode parts. Instead, we get a head of Optimus Prime accessory on a display stand, though, funnily enough, I think the biggest highlight for many, or at least one of them, is the packaging, which sports perhaps the most iconic Marvel Transformers comic cover, period.
Yeah, the only way that this would be, I'm gonna be honest, this is a very easy skip for me, and the only thing they could have done to get me to buy it is actually reprint the comic that it's referencing. So I mean, it's cool. It looks like it might go well with those Siege repaints of Optimus and Megatron from 2019, the 35th anniversary. They were with the cell shaded stuff. This looks like it might look cool with them. I like the stripes on it on the jet mode. But yeah, that's about all I have to say. The color, it's nice to see a more lavendery Shockwave instead of his violet.
Nice to get one without the battle damage as well, even though I think that's going to be the case in that Space Bridge 3-pack they're doing in Japan.
Oh, I forgot about that.
As much as people disliked his super mode from Siege, you do admittedly lose a bit of play value without those parts, let's be fair.
My retort to that is the people who are buying this are not going to play with it. This is by and large a display-oriented piece.
I'd be surprised if anyone takes this out of the box.
True.
Because, like, I gotta say, that cover does go down hard.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to the live stream, that head, that Optimus Prime head, is apparently compatible with the Earthrise Prime. If not for the fact that Marvel owns this character, it would have been cool if this had actually come with a figure of like a little statue or figure of Circuit Breaker.
I'm sure if Hasbro wanted to, they would be able to work something out.
Because, well, Shockwave is essentially responsible for Circuit Breaker's creation.
Yeah.
Not really much to say on this one. The cell shaded aesthetic is neat, but you know, you always got to make one concession for it to look good in one mode or the other. At the very least,
sells cell shaded seashells on the seashore.
Supposedly. It's neat that the head works with Earthrise Optimus, I will say. But I don't see myself buying this figure just for the head either.
So no head?
No.
Yeah, I'm debating whether or not to keep that in. And they're also doing Grimlock as well. They didn't talk about it in the stream, but they're doing Grimlock.
I've seen Grimlock. I already have. I mean, I basically have both of these molds already, and I have no intention of replacing them. I will say the boxes do look neat. I like the full art boxes. I feel like if Hasbro was going to go, if Hasbro really wanted to go like plastic free packaging, they should have just done windowless boxes and just given us like good art on the front, I think.
Yeah, but the focus group said kids like it when they can see the toy.
Listen, I'm a model kit fan. I have lived with full art boxes for the last forever years. All right.
You think little Timmy is a model kit fan?
They were back in the 50s.
That's true. But then again, all their paints were made of lead.
Not true, actually. Most model kit paints back then were oil-based.
Look at you with your facts and logic. Get out of here.
Yeah, real.
And
Kit
then
Catastrophe destroyed with facts and logic
No.
by based alt mode enjoyer, NotChar.
I've just started taking to collecting the Marvel comic recently. I'll talk more about that in the next episode of the seminar proper. But, for obvious reasons, Transformers number 5 and Transformers, I'm assuming number 13, maybe 12, something like that, are going to be two of the hardest issues to get for obvious reasons.
with that, we shall crack on to the Legacy United 4-pack.
Ooh, boy, we're eating now.
Okay, so there's 4 figures in this set, and no doubt that this would have been a buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive if that subline was still going. First
Yeah.
up is Cyberverse Universe Tarn, a redeco of Comic Universe Tarn in dark colors. It's not surprising that they went this route, considering their basic designs are almost exact or near exact, and any differences in surface detailing wouldn't really be worth doing any major retooling for, except maybe a cracked mask. Kind of a missed opportunity there. The only other standout feature for this one is that this also comes with a recolor of Bludgeon's sword.
Yeah, I think Tarn was a pretty obvious choice for the 4-pack simply because he wasn't entirely abundant on his first release. I still lack one, but at the same time, we're getting a package refresh of the Evolution figure in Wave 5, so really what's the point here? I'm probably still going to get the 4-pack, and I'll just flip this Tarn on eBay and get the package refresh.
But do you prefer the darker colors of this version?
No, that's why I'm gonna flip it.
Fair enough. But do you have any version of this mold?
Yes, I have Bludgeon after the Needle Nose enthusiast's incessant badgering. I say that with love. But yeah, I decided to try Bludgeon out, and I guess my thesis, to use a big word, would be that it's not a very good Transformer at all, but it's a pretty decent action figure.
Yeah, I think you said that in episode 5 of the main podcast when ID put this as one of his favorite purchases of 2023. Although I find it like I don't want to hear anyone say that this guy has a nothing alternate mode after we've had figures like Studio Series Core Class Bumblebee Movie Ravage and Rumble.
I mean, I think it's still a valid complaint. Just because there are other figures with even more reasons to complain doesn't mean you can't complain about this.
But I don't know. I mean, like with Tarn, you can at least tell that he's a tank of some sort.
Yeah, there is some design language going on here. You see the treads, you see the cowcatcher, everything's pointing in one direction, but it is still pretty abstract. Just makes me want the Mastermind Creations version.
Didn't they do the rest of the DJD?
I know they did at least 2 others.
Tarn wasn't even the. I don't think Tarn was even the first one for that group. I think they did Voss first.
Yeah, they did Voss, Kaon, and Tarn. I don't even know what the other 2 are called.
They're called Helix or Helix and Tesserus.
Gotcha.
And I think they also did an Autobot version of Tarn.
Yeah, a quote-unquote shattered glass, even though that's not how that works. But yeah, they did an Autobot one. Oh, and they did a version of Nickel, too.
I wasn't really interested in the initial Tarn mold, not for any fault of the toy itself, but mostly because, like, I've always had this opinion that I think Tarn is a cool looking robot, but not a very well designed vehicle mode, and so I don't really have much interest in it. But and this is kind of the same thing. It's basically just a recolor of that same figure that I wasn't interested in to begin with. Once again, through no fault of its own, it's just My problem with a lot of IDW designs is, in general, I have this problem where it just feels like half the time they just turn into a block of nothing on wheels, or a block of nothing on tracks, or a block of
it's
nothing with propeller blades.
Cybertronian.
The laws of physics do not change because you're on another planet. Except when they do, but that's not the basic tenets of vehicle design do not change when you're on another planet.
That's going to be an interesting discussion for the main podcast when it comes to alt modes.
Yes. I have a lot of opinions on quote-unquote Cybertronian modes. I think some Cybertronian modes are good, but I fucking hate it when they just use it to hand-wave away really not good designs.
Hi, Cybertron Metroplex. I think we're pretty much done with Tarns, in which case we can move on to Tarantulas.
Yes, this Orange Boy.
Yes, this is Tarantulas, retooled from the previous Legacy Deluxe, with a new head based on the original Beast Wars Tarantulas toy. The catch is that the deco is patterned after that old toy's prototype color scheme, as seen in the old Beast Wars commercials. Thankfully, not in translucent plastic.
We love a deep cut, and I have to say, if I do get the 4-pack, I may end up selling this at some point. But he would look good with my buzzworthy Black Arachnia. Is all I have to say.
It's certainly unique. It's interesting. Isn't that head from the buzzworthy series Black Arachnia, I think?
No,
it's not the same mold.
I don't think, what they've basically done with this is the same thing they did for that buzzworthy Black Arachnia, is that they've done new head sculpts that are based on the characters' original toys, although they actually seem to have gone in a slightly different direction with Tarantulas. It's based on the old toy's standard robot head instead of the mutant head.
Yes, I see that. I mean, this figure, I'm not that big of a Beast Wars aficionado. I have Tarantulas. I like Tarantulas. I don't need a Tarantulas in Fanta Orange flavor. Oh, come on. I thought that was funny.
As much as I say, thankfully not done in translucent plastic, a part of me feels that something is lost when doing it in this solid colored orange or brown or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and the gold paint would probably pop a little more if it was translucent, but it's probably for the best. I will say I do like this shade of steel gray that they're using here. I wish they'd use that in. Sure, are we interrupting your snacking session?
You might be. Sorry. Sorry.
I'd really like to see this shade of gray used a lot more often instead of that really washed out light gray that they use a lot.
I do like this gunmetal gray. It's slightly blued.
Yeah. It looks like real metal. Well, plastic pretending to be real metal. And it you can see every detail in it really well.
It looks like brushed steel to me.
Yeah, a little bit. I like it. I just noticed something. He comes with Black Arachnia's gun instead of his saw.
Oh, so he does, yeah. I suppose, yeah, if they're going for the Toyer aesthetic, and as opposed to the tuner aesthetic, they give him the gun that the original toy came with, which was Black Arachnia's gun.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're actually able to fit it back there. I didn't know they were planning on something like this.
It's certainly interesting. I mean, it might just be it might just be one of those things where it's oh, we didn't plan for this, but it works. So,
Despite the Beast Wars enthusiast in me, even if this was sold at a convention on its own, like they've been doing with a lot of these multi-packs, I don't know if I pick it up. I just prefer the original deco.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, I don't need an orange flavored Tarantulas. I
Yeah.
just it's not like a deco that really speaks to me, you know. I suppose it's neat if you're like you saw that Tarantulas in the trailer and you were really disappointed that the actual toy was purple, I suppose. But I quite like the initial Tarantulas design. Which is why it was one of the few Kingdom figures I went out of my way to get.
I will say it really is cool that Hasbro just loves making these repaints to make toys look like their original toys or unreleased prototypes and stuff like that. Like I appreciate these deep cuts, even though they don't always make for great toys.
Well, I mean, they did the Mutant Tigatron, so I guess we should have seen this coming.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna do like a bunch of repaints of the Kingdom. I wonder if they'll ever do like a bunch of repaints for the Kingdom toys to correspond to their Universe 1.0 repaints.
Well, I
That'd
think
be funny.
I mean, we already have Night Prowler.
You think they'll ever do? Zombie Silverbolt?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I
That'd be
mentioned that
funny.
on the last extracurricular. God, let's hope they make a depth charge.
I was just thinking. I really hope we get like an updated depth charge. I feel like he's one of those figures. Like,
In universe colors.
yeah,
That would go so hard. Because
It
growing
would be
up, that
fun
was
to
the only
see.
depth charge I ever knew. And I only knew it from freaking product catalogs.
Anyway, we shall move on to Prime Universe Cliffjumper. Back in episode 1 of the main podcast, Kit brought up how there were rumors of Legacy's Rescue Bots Chase being retooled into this Cliffjumper, and it looks like they weren't unfounded. New head sculpt, new hood ornament, same weapon, but in a different color. And I await the many, many pictures of Cliff and Legacy's RC side by side.
You see, this would be a toy I would absolutely buy if it was on its own. Because like otherwise, because I was saying I wasn't going to get Chase unless I was going to hold off on Chase to see if they did a repaint of him in a deco that I found more appealing, and they did. But if I want it, I have to get it alongside 3 other toys that I'm not really interested in. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still don't have Chase, and I still really want Chase because I think he looks amazing. But this mold looks fan-fucking-tastic in red. Like, he just looks
really does.
so good.
It really does. It does. I will give kudos to Hasbro. It looks really good. The hood ornament is well implemented. I don't think we've ever like gotten a Prime Cliffjumper figure where the horns on the hood actually become the horns on the head, like it's implied. But that I feel like that's asking too much.
I didn't know that's what they were implying.
I always assumed that was the implication because he had the hood because he had the horns on the hood ornament. So I always assumed, oh, okay, those are the horns on the head. I don't know.
But yeah, like
Maybe
you said,
me thing.
this would be a figure I would instantly buy if I saw it just on its own. But it's in the 4-pack, and instead of driving me away from the 4-pack and being disappointed, it just makes me accept the other figures that it comes with a little more. I mean, I'm still gonna flip that Tarn. I don't really like the look of Cyberverse Tarn. Tarantulas, he can hang out for a while, but I'll probably sell him off eventually, and well, we'll get around to the 4th one in due time. But yeah, this figure looks absolutely fan-fucking-tastic.
It does look genuine. It like for a modern day Chug figure, it looks great. It does look great.
And for a Chug Prime update, it looks great too.
Yeah, for a Chug
and it wasn't even designed to be him.
Well, one could argue it was a pre-mold.
I guess.
Inevitably, this toy is going to be the hardest of the pack to find on the aftermarket on its own because it's the one everyone wants.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, you know what? I bet if I don't, I fucking bet it's gonna be like I see the future 5 years down the line. This figure on its own on eBay for more than the entire bloody 4-pack sold for initially.
Honestly, I wish they would just do 2-packs instead.
I guess the whole point of Buzzworthy is that it's supposed to occupy less slots in like a retailer's inventory or whatever. And it's like I guess the prospect is more appealing to retailers because it's like one big thing that they can sell as a gift pack.
Yeah, that I'll give you that.
But like, I mean, yeah. Like I said, this is probably the toy that everyone wants from this pack.
For good reason. He looks amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a shame he doesn't come with a new accessory to mimic his triple barrel handguns.
Well, you say that. I did see some promo shots where they combined the claw weapon with the other thing with the other little extra thing on the arm to make like a facsimile of the triple barrel gun.
Well, I'll have to take another look at that then.
I would have preferred if they just made a unique piece, but I don't know how feasible that would be.
Yeah. I mean, if it works, it works.
When you actually see this toy, or this mold rather, in transformation, there's struts on the legs, which a lot of people thought would give Hasbro a reason to retool this into a version of Lockdown.
I was one of those people.
Unfortunately, they went another direction with that. And honestly, it's criminal because, like, imagine this mold in black.
Imagine this mold in black and dark green. Man. I feel robbed. Maybe they'll do another Legacy Lockdown, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Before we get to the last figure, all I just got to say is I wonder if they'll actually do a Prime tailgate from this guy.
Oh,
that'd be neat.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, especially if it has like the Cyberverse deco, Prime Cyberverse. I mean, not Cyberverse.
Well, what was that, white with blue flames?
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind that. Maybe they could sell it on its own.
In the show, Prime Tailgate, you couldn't really tell, but they recycled Cliffjumper's model for him, and he had red accents. But for the Prime Legion class toy, they did him just straight up in G1 tailgate colors, blue and white.
Would you want him to have a different head?
I honestly don't know, because we didn't see his noggin in the Prime cartoon.
I understand that, but I'm just saying from a personal from a perspective of like personal preference, if they made a new tailgate and it was based on the and it was, if they did a Prime tailgate, would you want it to have like a more like a retooled head to look more like other incarnations of tailgate, or would you just want it to be a straight repaint?
I wouldn't mind either or, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't think a new head is necessary, but it's always appreciated.
Yeah.
I wonder how they'd stylize G1 Tailgate's head in the Prime aesthetic.
Well, it's kind of funny because you have to imagine a game of telephone in your head, because you have to think, okay, how would they adapt the G1 Tailgate head into Prime, and then how would they adapt that head back into G1? Because Legacy did that whole thing where they do the taking all the characters from other universes and making them G1.
Yeah, that's true.
The only other redeco I can think of, two alternatives they could go. Terracon Cliffjumper.
I was just about to mention that, actually. Yeah, Terracon. I've seen a bunch of people talking about how they're going to make Terracon Cliffjumper customs already. So, I mean, it's got to be something they're thinking about, surely.
That'll be the version that's sold individually.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's the way. I mean, consider this. It's the way that we saw. It's the way that he existed for the majority of the show. I'm pretty sure Terracon Cliffjumper got more screen time than actual Cliffjumper.
Well, I mean, he did get a flashback episode, so that's up for debate.
True.
In the meantime, I think we shall crack on to the last figure in the set, and I think this was probably the biggest surprise for a lot of people. It is Generation 1 Universe Squeezeplay, a Decepticon headmaster, and an extensive retool of Titan's Return Mindwipe. He transforms into a bipedal crab monster and comes with his headmaster partner, Locos, how you pronounce that, along with a mace tail weapon. And before we discuss his other accessory, can I just say that alt mode?
Yeah.
Listen, it looks like cancer in both senses of the word. Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But also, like imagine him with Power of the Prime's blot. They'd be buddies.
Oh, I'm sure.
They'd be just some silly fellas. They actually gave him ankle tilts, it looks like, which is something you didn't really see in Titan's Return.
I mean, I will cut the toy some slack just because it's a retool from another figure that has a completely different alt mode. So like they're basically changing. They basically had to rejig the engineering of they had to like readapt the engineering of another figure to be something completely different.
Yeah. Really, my only like actual problem with this with the alt mode is that like the headpiece just looks completely disconnected from everything else, and it looks like it's barely trying to be part of the mode. Whereas the rest, he just like disregarding that, he just looks like a silly little crab goblin man.
Yeah.
I will say, I wish they like it was pretty cool to see them bring back the retool double cross once again to make Fangry, but I wish they'd give a shot at making a completely original headmaster mold again, you know?
So the G1 Squeeze Play toy was sold in Japan as a separate character in Transformers Super God Master Force named Cancer, which Kit beat me to the joke in regards to using that word to describe his alt mode.
Hey, I have plausible deniability. You could just say that cancer means a crab.
There are apparently deco choices on this toy meant to match Cancer's appearance in the Master Force anime, like the off-white plastics and blue-tinted face, apparently. Also, he bears the chest stats that were common with the original Headmaster toys from Generation 1.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition, the other weapon we get is sculpted after a Master Force Decepticon and Cancer's partner from that anime, Browning, who transformed into a gun. The original Browning toy is a mold from Takara's microchange line, specifically from the Gun Robo subset of figures. And let's face it, this is probably the only modern toy of that character we're going to get, unless they give Browning the tank treatment.
Unfortunately, because Browning was the coolest looking of the three gun robos that I know of. Like,
yeah. Of the three, I'm genuinely surprised they didn't choose Browning to be Megatron. I'm sure this is like a thing that's I'm sure this is like a common thing that comes up, but like
they chose Megatron because he comes with more shit, so they could sell him for a higher price.
Yeah, that's the thing people say, and I'm not surprised, but I don't know.
But Browning just has a super cool robot mode. He's like symmetrical. I mean, Megatron's mostly symmetrical too, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. He's got way more heroic proportions as well, Browning.
God, could you imagine the the alternate timeline where Browning was Megatron and Megatron was Browning? Like Cancer just carrying around a German pistol.
I get the feeling if it was the other way around, they wouldn't be able to do that today. Because people say, oh, it's a Nazi gun. Oh, can't have that. Because apparently guns can hold political affiliations.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But
the one thing I will say about Squeezeplay, it is possible that the head hinges forward so that it sits flush with the rest of the body?
I would hope so. But then you'd have a massive gap behind it.
Or then I suppose that is covered up a bit by the frills.
No, I mean
hood,
like
rather?
behind the head itself. If you fold it down and forward, there's just
No,
a
I know
gap.
what you mean. It's just like I don't know. I guess you wouldn't really be. Maybe this is cope, but like I guess you might not be able to see it unless you were looking at it directly from the side.
Yeah, I mean, forced perspective can go a long way.
Mm-hmm. But
This
maybe
is-
that's just me being overly charitable to the toy.
I mean, this and Cliffjumper are the two reasons why I want the set. I like, as shitty as he looks, I don't know, he looks goofy, and I like it. And he comes with Browning.
Browning.
And in terms
Let's see
of
if this toy gets banned in Australia.
And in terms of the 1988 Headmasters, that just leaves us with Horrible.
I wonder who they could possibly. Oh god, if we
Well,
get a fucking
no, there's
weird,
still,
we'll get a Weirdwolf remold for that one.
Oh boy, I mean, there's still the Autobots left. They've done Minerva, but they haven't done
Go
they haven't
Shooter and
done
Cab.
Streetwise and the fire truck guy whose name escapes me.
Go
Hosehead.
Shooter and Cab.
Hosehead.
It's actually Siren, not Streetwise. He's a protector bot.
Oh, what? Oh, I'm thinking of the detective guy, the blue and
Nightbeat.
yellow guy. Nightbeat, that's it. Why was I thinking of Streetwise? Moronic behavior on my part.
Keep that up and
Nightbeat,
we'll revoke
Siren,
your
and-
teaching privileges.
Nightbeat, Siren, and Hosehead. And with that just about wraps things up. When the next extracurricular will be, I don't know. Meanwhile, episode 8 of the main podcast, due for mid to late April, will be on the Skybound comics.
Yes.
I won't be there, as I haven't checked those comics out, but I've been hearing cool things about them. I've been hearing cool things about those comics, so I guess it's my loss.
Indeed it is.
And that was the last of the Hasbro live streams for March. One of the better ones, I thought, by default. So for now, this has been Kit Catastrophe, Char, and Runestone for another extracurricular. Thank you both for coming on. I'm going to get ID on one of these if it's the last thing I do. Anyway, until now, this is me saying take care till all are one.